All right, time for the animal mask. Materials you're going to need. You're going to need some paper towels and a face mold to put on top of the paper towels. You're going to need some plaster of Paris embedded in gauze. So this is gauze with plaster of Paris embedded in it. You're going to need some scissors. And these materials are located in a container that you're going to need. You're going to need a bowl about half full of hot water, and we're going to be using the scissors that are in the container. Please don't use like other scissors that might be on the back counter. So first of all, you need to cut several narrow strips of plaster of Paris gauze. You're going to need quite a few. You want to keep these about as wide as your index finger. You don't need to measure exactly, but anywhere from ½ inch, 3/4 inch, definitely no like wider than an inch. So anywhere ½ inch, 3/4 inch to an inch, but you want to cut a lot of these off. And then I'm going to show how we start putting the layers on the face mold. So even though we're going to be doing an animal mask, we're going to be just using just a regular human face mold. So what you do once you have several of these cut, as I did some ahead of time, you're going to put some of these in the hot water bowl. Put it in the hot water bowl. You just very gently kind of take the water down like this. It kind of fills in the holes. You put it on the face mask and you just kind of tap on there to kind of fill in the holes a little bit. And we're going to do the first layer as all horizontal, all left and right like this. So you take another one, same thing, just very gently you take the water off. You're going to go back on the face mold and you want to overlap it a little bit, and then you want to kind of just tap it on. You want to make sure you don't rub on here once it's on the face mold. And you just kind of go through this process of taking the water off, overlapping on the face mold, kind of tapping it on like this. Where a lot of people will make a mistake as I'm going around the top is they'll start getting it gradually at an angle, then it'll all go vertical again, then at an angle. But we need to keep going flat, left and right, flat horizontal for the whole first layer. Okay, so you take the water off, you overlap. If you go on this flat part right here a little bit, that's okay. But just go ahead and kind of tap it on there. So I'll do a few more so you can kind of see how this process works. So again, I'm keeping going horizontal on this. Okay. And if you rub too hard like this, you're going to take too much of the plaster off, too much of the plaster of Paris. So you just have to do that just very gently, and you're going to continue this first layer like that. Once the water starts getting a little cool or kind of cold, you want to dump the water out and get fresh water, and I'll kind of go over that here in just a minute. Okay, I'll go ahead and put one more on here and show you how this is working out. Okay, so this layer is all horizontal. Okay, I'll kind of turn this a little. Okay, you can kind of see how that's starting to work. So it's all horizontal, like left and right, like that. So I'm going to go ahead and continue this process. When I run out of the pile of plaster of Paris strips that I already have, I'll just cut more, make more. Make sure you don't get any water on the actual roll itself. So you want to be careful that when you're going from the water to your container, you're not dripping on plaster of Paris that's already like dry on your paper. You want to make sure you go around it when you put it on the mask. When you go to clean up each day, okay, you want to get a separate paper towel. Make sure you write your name and period on the paper towel, and you're going to take your face mold here and you're going to put it like over any extra plaster of Paris strips that you have. If you put them back in the container, then anyone can get them like in a different class. So put them under the face mold. Want to make sure your name and period show, and then it's going to go over on a shelf over here in the corner of the room, one of the wooden shelves in the gray metal rack over there. The plaster of Paris just goes back in the container. Scissors go back in there. Here's a few more I can put underneath the face mold. And we're going to be doing 4 layers. So we're going to be doing a horizontal layer, then a vertical layer, then another horizontal layer, and then another vertical layer. So we're going to do 4 layers that go opposite ways, that overlap and go opposite ways, 4 different layers. Okay, paper towels, we can kind of use them. There's going to be a lot of like plaster of Paris, like powder, that's going to come off the gauze strips like this. So you just kind of get this into a pile. You don't want to get it wet. It's just going to make a bigger mess. You just get this wet, you kind of bring a garbage can like over to your table, and you can kind of sweep this in a garbage can, which I'll do here in a little bit. But very importantly with the water, you want to make sure you put your hand under it and you dump the water in the sink, and your hand is here to catch any plaster that might be in the bowl, which there will be some. So once you start getting low, there's going to be some plaster in there. So what you do is you just tear off some paper towels, wipe out the rest of it. Okay, like that. Might be kind of difficult to see, but I've got some plaster of Paris on there. Okay, and then you just go ahead and put the bowl back on the rest of them there on the counter is what you do. Okay, and then once again, this goes over on one of the shelves. Okay, and then we just kind of clean this up into a garbage can over there. And if some did get wet and it's smeared everywhere and it dried, then you just take a dry paper towel and then that should come off the table. So that's pretty much it for cleanup. So I will be finishing the first layer horizontal, then I'll start the second layer vertical, then do a third layer horizontal, then a fourth layer vertical. But we're going to do 4 layers for that, and then I'll have these plaster of Paris embedded in gauze strips. I'll have those for next time. All right, so thanks for watching, and that's how we get started and the materials that we use and clean up.